fun facts?
Isn't it awesome to see some of your favorite content creators and favorite people, honestly, that you follow here on this app, be a part of this amazing community called the Nerd Initiative?
The Nerd Initiative presents the Comic Press Podcast, hosted by JJ's Comic Stuff.
Boom. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Comic Press Podcast on the Nerd Initiative YouTube channel. My name is JJ's Comic Stuff, your host. And with me today, I've got a very special guest. He is the founder of Geek Collective. He also helps Band of Bards. He's pretty much a well-known name in the indie comic community as far as PR goes. This is Joey Galvez. What's up, man?
How's it going, man? I'm excited to be here, man. I've been hearing a whole lot about Nerd Initiative and everything you guys have been doing, man. You guys have been killing it.
I appreciate that, man. We're trying. We're definitely trying.
Yeah, it's fantastic, man. We need more people out there that do exactly what Nerd Initiative does. And man, I love it. From the moment that I heard you guys were coming on the scene, I said, "Oh man, this is awesome. We need more of this." It was really
Oh,
really
well,
cool.
we appreciate that, man. 100%.
Definitely.
So, before we get into the book that you came out here to help promote, let's get into you and your kind of origin story real quick. What got
Sure.
you into comic books or just nerdy stuff in general? What's the nerd origin story for Joey Galvez and Geek Collective?
I feel like I've been a nerd or like against the grain from the very beginning, man. I was a punk rock kid, dude. So I would have the mohawk and all that stuff. So I was always like I don't know if I want to use the word outcast, but I was, always the person wanting to look for something different than what the norm or what the kids around me were doing. So I was always into that stuff. And then I got into skateboarding and stuff. And what was really cool about it is next door to the skate shop was this really cool ice cream shop that had these magazine racks and everything, right? But there was this one row on both sides that had comic books, right? So I would go in there and I would flip through all the comic books, and they had the spinner racks and all that stuff. And I bought my first comic book, which was the Jim Lee X-Men run, the where they have the whole they have the whole of the connecting covers. Actually, that's what this. I don't know if you can see in the back of that framed thing. I have all those connecting covers in there because that was my first comic that I ever bought with my own money, right?
Right.
So we would go mow lawns and stuff like that, and we get some money, go get some ice cream, and then I bought that comic book. Like it was like maybe a couple years after it came out. So I don't even know why it was still on the rack.
Well, that is weird that it was still sitting there after you said what a year?
Yeah, a couple years, because it was in 91, 92 or something like that book came out, right? I grabbed that in like 94, dude, 95.
Oh, wow, okay.
So yeah, man, it was it I think it was just because it was in an ice cream shop and nobody thought that a comic book would ever be in there, I mean, a nice gem like that. But also no, in that like 2-3 years after that, nobody knew it was going to be a gem like it is today.
Oh, right. That goes for a lot of stuff. Like, also, I don't think anybody thought that about 5 years later, the entire market would crash either. So,
Right. Oh man, there's so much. Yeah, the 90s, right? And we got Alan in the house. What's up, Alan?
yeah, what's going on? Alan Dunford, everybody. Thank you real quick for supporting Grandma Chainsaw on Kickstarter. That was a book a lot of us really believed in and wanted to help support
Very
and get
cool.
the word out for us. So thank you guys for helping that
Love
get
Grandma
that last
Chainsaw.
little boost real quick.
Yeah, Grandma Chainsaw is one of my favorites right now, and that's not because they pay me to say that. They, even though they do pay me to say that, but that one was genuine.
Right, 100%, man. Like, I tell them all the time, I don't review books or have people on if I didn't like their stuff. So,
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I think that's what it's all about, right? Is finding something that you love, and that's why I love Kickstarter, right? That's why Alan and the gang who do all their stuff through Kickstarter, because it's a really cool market where you can directly interact with the consumer, right? And
mhm.
you can create friendships and stuff like that. Like we all created this friendship with you guys, and it's all through the direct to consumer market. And I thought it's just a fantastic way to put some content out there.
100%. So you started off with like X-Men, obviously. So
Yeah.
Marvel, I'm assuming, was your go-to back then.
No, what's weird is I bought well, X-Men obviously because, the cartoons and all that stuff, and then
Hmm.
Spider-Man was out. But I was more of a DC guy and reading a lot of more DC stuff. Like I'm more of a Batman, huge Batman fan.
Okay.
Uh, but since then since they did since they did that newest reboot, the Rebirth or whatever, I just said, "No, I'm good. I'm just gonna stop reading superhero comics for a while." And that's kind of when I got into all the indie stuff, and I just started falling in love with indies, man. So, but yeah, it's but it all started with X-Men, and Batman and the animated series, and then and the comic books and all that stuff. And then, I fell off for a few years there, you know what I mean? I was a teenager. It was probably had something to do with, girls.
Usually does.
So, I was like, "Yeah, comics aren't that cool," right?
Hmm.
So and then I found it back, in my adult life when, I was collecting. I was like, I wanted to find something fun to do, and I was like, "I'm gonna go back into the comic shop," and I found what was really cool, I found these Batman comics, and then I was like, well, I'm gonna go search for my first ever comic book that I purchased, right? And I had a local comic shop who actually had them all, and I said, oh my gosh, I couldn't pass up on the opportunity to get them all again. So it was really cool. I never had them all though until now. Like I just had the one, and what was cool is I had the best one because and this is why I'm saying it was a gem, and it was weird that it was still on the rack because it was the one that had the poster that popped out. Um,
Oh, wow. Did it still have the poster and everything in it?
yeah, it still had everything in it, so it was really cool. And I don't know what I did with it. I think I probably ripped out the poster and put it on my wall or something dumb like that because
Right.
kids. But now I've got them all. I have that one here in in my in my that one's not coming off my wall. I made sure that I like super glued it and stuff.
Like you can't get that off the wall.
Nope.
So, okay, what got you into the indie scene and like how did you start up with Geek Collective? Because that's kind of its own little monster, if you will.
Well, yeah. Well, Geek Collectives is all over the place, man. Well, I mean, not all over the place. We have our tentacles in a lot of different things, right? And
Hmm.
and we started that thing off. It's a podcast network first, right? And it was more of just me and my buddies coming together to kind of just create something for ourselves. We were part of a bigger podcast network where I did a Batman centric podcast with a buddy of mine, and he did a couple other shows and stuff like that. But we kind of we left that network and we wanted to kind of do something of our own, and we created it was under a different name called 143 Podcast Network, and we kind of based it off of the philosophy of Mr. Rogers and the 143, you know um,
Okay.
his whole life's work, right, just being amazing. So we wanted to just create something that was amazing for everybody, and that meant to show love for everybody's respective hobbies or loves or whatever it is, right? So we created something like that, and then he started getting so busy with his podcast because it was blowing up, and he did a Texas history podcast, and it was getting some really big. He's won some awards and stuff like that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So he ended up saying, what, I can't manage this, you want to manage it for me? And then eventually he said, I got a proposition. He's like, I'm going to sell you the rights, do whatever you want with it. I know, like, I just got to handle this. This is blowing up and I can't handle it. So he gave over the rights, and we rebranded, and we still keep that philosophy of, we want people's passions to shine, right? And so that's one of those big things about Geek Collective. We want it to be a place where all geeks can come together and gather together and show love for one another, and experience, if you haven't experienced somebody else's kind of love. Like I have got a bunch of friends who are into D&D, and they still keep trying to get me to learn. I still haven't learned D&D, right? So that's one of those things that I, after like my workload might get lessened a little bit, I might try to learn. But that's another one, right? That if you get into, it's very time consuming and it can
Oh,
control
yeah.
your life, right? So I'm just like,
Right.
if I tell my wife I'm going to do something else that's going to control my life like comic books do, she's going to be like, nope, I want to stay married. So
Uh, I do understand that.
yeah, man.
All right. So now that we've heard all the origin stories, let's get into what you came on to talk about,
Yeah.
and that is Badass Girl. So
Yeah.
give everybody a quick synopsis of this.
So I'm really horrible at this because I need to get better at this. So basically, you have a teenage girl who was orphaned in the wilderness, in the aftermath of an alien invasion, right? And she was trained by the Qing Shi, the mysterious Qing Shi, um, and after she gets to a point to where she is done with her training, she's goes off into the world, and she comes in contact with somebody from her past, and she has to gain her strength to to like a phoenix out of the fire, come back and fight and stand up to her past. So this is one of those reluctant hero stories where you see the hero really not wanting to be known as a hero, right? But
Mhm.
any time that they see somebody that is getting hurt, who cannot fend for themselves, this is that type of person who's going to step in no matter what. And this is definitely what we get with Badass Girl. um all 4 issues are completely finished. We're kickstarting all 4 issues plus a trade paperback. We're doing some really really great tiers and stuff like that. Very very affordable for everybody to kind of do that. We're a little behind the wheel on this one, but we need to kick in the tail here with this Kickstarter. But we believe in this stuff so much that we're not gonna we're gonna, if something happens to God forbid, we will come back, just like Badass Girl breaks out of the rubble here in one of the scenes where she gets hurt, and she has to come back and show her strength, that she is capable of doing what she needs to do, right? And that we're gonna come back just like Badass Girl, and we're gonna come back and with some amazing things. So we have a lot planned for you guys, tons and tons of really great stuff. So I don't know if have you read it yet?
Oh
I know
yeah,
this is
yeah,
going.
yeah.
How do you feel about it, man?
I liked it. I liked it. It's the first issue I would say is slightly a little confusing at first because
Yeah,
it doesn't tell you anybody's names.
that's on purpose, I guess.
I
So
figured as much. So I haven't read issues 2, 3 through 4 yet or anything, but
yeah.
I was assuming that was by design.
Yeah, so it's by design, and she's known as Badass Girl. We're not gonna hear her name in these first few issues, right? I can't give any information away on whether we're gonna hear it in the next arc or not. But just stay tuned. If that's something you guys, that's one of those things, right? You're like, what's going on? Why aren't we getting anybody's names, right?
Mhm. It's one of
And
those
it's
things that kinda hooks you in and makes you wanna read another issue because it's like,
yeah,
well, now I wanna know who the hell these people are.
right. and and you definitely get that here. So I love that, right? And it's one of those things, those things that is I think can sometimes, and I'm gonna be true, it can probably make or break you sometimes, right? But I think the way we did it here, the way we have our creators, Chris Everhart and Brand Garvey, they do such an amazing job of telling the story. I think they did an amazing story here. We got some more stuff coming up that's gonna make it even hit the mark even more. We just need you guys to help with this one and back this one, because this is such a great story. We're just excited for this one to be out there. Like I said, we have all 4 issues completely finished and ready to go for you guys.
Yeah, now, dude, this artwork's actually like it threw me off a little bit because at first it seemed very, very simple.
Mhm.
But then when you look at it, it's almost good that it's that simple because
Yeah.
you get very straightforward storytelling out of it.
Yeah, I think Brand did a fantastic job with the artwork. When I was looking through the first issue, I said, "Oh my gosh, this looks really good," right? And then you can almost see his progression and how much better he gets towards issue 4 and all that stuff. But the first issue is so good. It's kind of raw, right?
Mhm.
You get this kind of raw feeling, the simple raw storytelling with this artwork, and that was one of those things that attracted me to Badass Girl when I first seen it. I said, okay, this first issue looks really good, and then consistently he's consistently gotten better and better each issue, and I think he kind of hones in and refines that kind of simplicity a little bit, but it doesn't like it's I love different types of artwork, right there, but there's sometimes there's that chaotic kind of art style that people got going that people love right now, right? Where
Hmm.
there's no clean lines whatsoever, right? But
And
then there's those.
everything's just like covering the page, and it's just like it's almost sensory overload
Right.
sometimes.
I love that stuff too, but right, but I don't think for this story it would have worked, right? So I think they picked the right choices in each aspect that they did when they went to pick this artist and stuff like that in the world, and the kind of it just kind of vibes, and that's what
Hmm.
when those teams kind of vibe and just kind of click, that's when it's the best, I think.
And I really liked what they did with like these little flashback scenes here, where they kind of gave it like almost that film grain filter over it.
Yeah, very cool,
'Cause it
fantastic.
makes it more obvious that it's a flashback and it's not just some other story that's going on. Because I've seen
Yeah,
some like flashback scenes in comic books where it's like the
mhm.
artwork doesn't change at all.
And you
So
see
if
a
you're
little
not
bit of
really
change
paying
in there.
attention, you don't even realize it's a flashback.
Right, and you see a little bit of change to his art style there too in those flashbacks a little bit, right? I think that's one of those things that Brand does really well. He knows he can stick to one style and then kind of flip back to another style and not lose anything, which is really cool. Which is another thing that attracted me to the story was those flashback scenes, because I was like, well, and I looked at it and I was like, is this one or two different artists that you guys are working with here? And they
Mhm.
said, no, that's just one. And I said, and that's what kind of impressed me with it. So, I'm kind of excited that you caught on to that too a little bit. Very cool.
Oh yeah, because it does almost look like two completely different artists. I wish I would have grabbed more screenshots of the flashback scenes, but if you guys look at the difference between, this kind of style and then you go back into the very clean, crisp stuff, I mean, it almost does look like two different people drew it.
Yeah, yeah, very cool. Yeah, and you can see there some of those you can see some of the parts where Brand he gets better, right? Because this is issue 1 here is showing, and then all the way to issue 4, if you guys read issue 4, his style's got so much cleaner, and you think you're like, this is already clean, like how can you
Mhm.
get any more clean?
Right, exactly. Because I mean, it's big, bold lines, and even this scene right here where you get, the town, I don't know if I'm allowed to spoil the names of things.
Sure, go for it, man.
Okay, well, the town's called the World because according to the people living in the town, that's all there is left in the world after the alien invasion,
Hmm.
and, like, with how far away that he made this look, it's still he put a lot of detail into that little town down there.
Yeah, yeah. Attention to detail is amazing when it comes to artists, and that's what you want to do, right? You want to watch how they work and how they pay attention to that detail. Yeah, it's fantastic.
And excuse me, and then with the writing itself, like I said, I mean, it sucks you in, especially when you start seeing the villains, again, not getting any names, so now it just keeps raising up the stakes of who are these people? I wanna know who these people are now.
Yeah, you'll get so in issue 1, they don't they we do find out her name, and I believe issue 2 or 3, I believe. And so we do eventually get some names. We will not get our lead character's name, not yet. So there you will be able to get a couple characters' names within the next few issues. So and the our big bad is kind of just a jerk, you know. So, but I get it though, right? Because in a post-apocalyptic world, you want to be if you can get the upper hand, right? And especially if you are somebody who's like thinking like, if I get the upper hand, if I got this power, I could be on top, right? So you always
Mhm.
get that kind of that feeling here too. Like it's like a good 80s style movie. And that's the way it reads too. I feel like it's like it reminds me of like Thunderdome or something like that,
Yeah,
or like a Mad Max story, right?
100%, 'cause what's the vibe I'm trying to say here? Like, it's very, oh, what's the movie I'm thinking of? I hate it when this happens. because now it's going to bug me the rest of the night. But
I would
anyway,
I
yeah,
would say like a Mad Max, right? Or like a Fury Road, right? With Fury
that's
Road
the right.
first, right? There
Fury Road was the one I was trying to think of.
yeah, yeah, that, and this is our lead character, right? Furiosa or whatever they call her name. But yeah, I think it definitely feels like that. But she's a little bit more like chill. She wants to stay to
Hmm.
herself. She doesn't really want to cause attention to herself. So one of those great dynamics there. And I love that she's always steps up no matter what it is. She steps up and there's just no hesitation. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and like this kid keeps trying to convince her to go do this stage show thing, and like she
Yeah.
doesn't understand what he's even asking for.
Hmm.
And
Right.
then, of course, there's this was probably my favorite part of the entire first issue, is
Yeah.
because here, she's arguing with him, saying she's not civilized.
Yeah.
She's straight says, "I'm not wild," and then attacks this dude for trying to offer her an apple.
Yeah. Right.
Like, no,
And
you're not wild at all. Like,
and she's got a little bit of PTSD, right?
yeah,
And
100%. Because it gives
she's
you that
reactive.
flashback right next to it where
Yeah.
it's, be on guard or die. I mean, she
Mhm.
wasn't trained half-assed,
Yeah. Yeah, and it's hardcore, right? So so it's one of those things that you kind of question, like, is she just this like hardcore badass where or does she have some heart? Does she have feelings, right? She's not just a freaking
Mhm.
robot, right? So but even though that she may have been trained like that. So it's like it's one of those it definitely feels like a really great like indie film or like a really cool like Netflix or Prime show. Like I'm down with that all day, man.
It almost gives me, Hannah vibes. Do you remember that movie,
Yeah,
Hannah?
yeah, there you go. Uh-huh.
That's
Yeah,
the
Hannah.
movie that's another one of the ones I was
Yeah.
trying to think of. I'm like, that's what it
And very
reminds me of.
fast paced, right? And like it doesn't stop from the very beginning, right? I think
Because
that's
right after, she has her little freak out and she agrees to get on stage, she has another little freak out and runs off stage.
yeah.
So it's like she's trying to step up in this situation, but obviously there's something going on to where she's just like not she does not want to be inside walls, you can tell.
Yeah. Yeah. And can you blame her, right?
No, 100% not. You got a huge crowd of people screaming at you to like impress them, and you're not even sure what they're asking you to do. You don't know what
Right.
kind of stories this kid's been telling them. Like,
And you gotta think about it too, right? She was abandoned. She doesn't know if if she was abandoned on purpose or if it was an accident, right? And then the only person that she had in her life was this person that only wanted to train her and possibly didn't want to love her, right? So
mhm.
she's going through her entire adolescent life not being wanted, and then all of a sudden she shows up in this town and everybody wants her, right?
I mean, her
So
name's on the wall.
right, and you're just like, how do you feel from going from not being wanted to all of a sudden you're the only one that can be their savior, right? So it's like, how do you feel? And I love that we are we going to I can't say anything, but who knows if we kind of follow that thread there in her life in the next few arcs there. So it's I mean, if you guys are down for a story like that, this is definitely something that is going to be up your alley.
Yeah, because she may have freaked out being in town and on the stage or whatever, but she steps up when she's needed.
Yeah, always, right? And
Like
that's the thing.
100% staff and chain in hand, ready to go.
Yeah,
Like,
and that's the thing. She's always there to step up, right? She doesn't ever let anybody down. And I think that's the key with Badass Girl, right? She's reluctant. She doesn't want this. She every chance she gets, but when she's needed, she's there.
yeah, 100%. And it's a really good thing for like a main character or like a hero character, because so often I think our hero characters we're presented with are like these paragons of
Yeah.
like virtue, and they always do the right thing. There's no reluctancy. There's no,
Yeah.
selfishness to it at all. Whereas Badass Girl, does have a little bit of selfishness to her, but it's not because she's a bad person.
Yeah.
It's because that's basically what's been ingrained and literally beaten into her head over
Right.
her entire life.
Yeah, man. And you got to think, and that scene where with the apples, like how and is this the first time that she's ever come in contact with this many people? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it's like how do you go? You're a machine, and then how do you kind of pull back from that a little bit, right? And you gotta you gotta it almost reminds me of like a 2-year-old, right, who's like trying to figure out what how their body's moving and things,
Mhm.
and you when you're like playing around you might hit too hard or something, you know what I mean? So it's like it's almost like she's a toddler, walking around the world not knowing what the heck's going on, right?
Well, because she doesn't know how to react to people. I mean, you could clearly tell she's got some
Yeah.
PTSD going on because the dude literally just came up behind her to offer her an apple and she bloodied his nose. Like, didn't
Right.
even turn around to look and see if it was a threat or not, just reacted.
Right.
But no, I had a lot of fun with this one, man. A lot of people send me a lot of books lately, and not a lot of them are good. So,
I feel that, man.
because it's like no hate, and I never want to discourage anybody from doing anything like at all. But maybe proofread your things before you send them to people, like.
Oh, man.
But anyway, I don't want to be negative about stuff. So yeah, where can people find Badass Girl, and is it getting released in shops after the Kickstarter?
So we're hoping we're gonna yeah we're definitely gonna start pitching around, right, and all that good stuff. But we right now at this point it has not been picked up, but we're hoping to. So this is the plan. We're gonna be dropping. We got this Kickstarter going right now, and we are in the process of writing the next arc already, and we're gonna be developing the second arc there, and we have a couple of side stories and spin-offs and things like that that we want to possibly pursue. So we definitely have a whole lot, coming to you guys from the Badass Girl world. So definitely stay tuned. But oh my dude, the slate that Geek Collective has with Top Hat Studios, Badass Girl, and then and we're even working with the Black Cotton team. There's like these next 2 years are gonna be nuts, dude.
Oh
Nuts.
yeah, I've gotten a little bit of insight on what's coming from Top Hat here soon, and
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah, yeah. If I could do a quick plug for everything else, so we have Horus in Hell that's coming up. We're already building the Kickstarter for that right now. So Horus in Hell, the full first issue is going to be dropping. That one's coming from the Top Hat Studio guys. Kit Wallace, he's doing the interiors on that one. Very very cool stuff. Then we got some really fun variant covers already. I'm not gonna tell you guys yet because we're gonna keep that one under our top hat for a little bit there. And then with Black Cotton, we got right now Black Cotton. We have a Kickstarter that is live right now. Um, just head on over to geekcollective.net/black cotton, and that'll take you there. It is they're doing a double issue of that's the first 2 issues of Black Cotton Volume 2. If you guys have read Black Cotton, it's a world where black and white is reversed. It's in society. So it's a really great story where it follows these predominant family members who are the Cottons. This one takes place 1 year after the volume one. So there's a little bit of a gap there. So we're gonna kind of skip a year there, and then we're gonna skip ahead of years, and we're gonna drop you guys right in there for the first 2 issues there. Great stuff. We also have a secret. Um, we got a secret variant dropping here in a couple days. You guys can hear that from me because it's a secret.
Exclusive.
And we have some really cool stretch goals that we're going to be revealing here very soon. So very cool stuff. Keep an eye on that stuff. And then we have tons of stuff for them. We have lots of stuff in the pipeline with Top Hat. Um, we have not announced any of those things yet, but we also have at least 2 years in the pipeline with a bunch of stuff coming from Black Cotton as well. Next,
Awesome.
so we got Black Cotton, and then we got an offshoot that we're gonna be calling it Black Cotton. It's BCU Presents. It's the Black Cotton Universe.
Okay.
And we have one that's gonna be hitting Kickstarter in June called Remember, and that's gonna be another one underneath the Geek Collective banner. So that's gonna be our second book that we're gonna be dropping from us from Geek Collective, with working with Black Cotton. And we have Damian Becton who's writing. All like all the same people that were working on Black Cotton are going to be working on this one too. So, and we got lots and lots more stuff in store, man. So keep an eye out for Top Hat Studios, Blade Ridge, which is a badass girl, and BCU. So we're not stopping here, man.
Heck yeah, man. Well, if you guys want to go check out any of that stuff that Geek Collective's got going on, you can also find them on Twitter, and I'm sure there's links on their Twitter to everything that they've got going on. If you want to follow Joey, you can follow Joey at Joey Galvez 1984 on Twitter. Make sure you go and check out nerdinitiative.com for all the latest nerd news, interviews, reviews, previews, you name it. We're currently doing it over there. If you really feel like you want to and follow me, you can find me at JJ's Comic Stuff everywhere on social media. And is there anything else you want to plug real quick before we end the stream here, man?
That's it, man. I think that's for right now. That's what we got going on. We just, follow everybody that we said, and we got, if you guys love stories, man, just keep an eye on Geek Collective, because we got tons of stuff coming out.
Heck yeah, man. Well, on that note, everybody, as always, please be safe, be kind, and take it easy.